William de Vijlder is the chief economist at BNP Paribas and joins me now. Good evening, sir. Thank you. It's really an interesting, Macron takes over with great force and prospect and promise of change. But how much structural change has actually taken place? Oh, there's been lots of strikes and lots of disruption, but how much structural change has actually taken place during the Macron years, do you believe?
Well, there has been an ongoing effort to kind of revamp France where it needs to be revamped. I think there have been changes in terms of household taxation, which are important and which I think people seem to forget about now. There have also been efforts to boost entrepreneurship, and that has led to a very lively startup scene. There has been an effort that had to be interrupted, admittedly, to change the very complex schemes in terms of retirements. So a lot of efforts, but as you quite rightly say, there has been a lot of demonstrations in the streets, which were triggered by the increase in taxations on petrol. And that is something which comes back now, considering what we're experiencing in terms of petrol prices and other prices of commodities.
If, and it's always a big if, but the economic priorities and policies of the two candidates, assuming in the final round it is Marine Le Pen and it is Emmanuel Macron, their economic policies are so dramatically different. From an economic, not a political point of view, does that give you concern if she wins?
Well, there is the important question of what happens afterwards, in the sense that, like in any country, I would say, a candidate runs for office, gets elected, and then what happens then? Then is the reality. What is especially important in France is that after the presidential election, we then have election for parliament. And although the president has a lot of power, he still needs to work together with the parliament. And the challenge would be in that case, to have the majority. You need to have a coalition government. Inevitably, you need to have cohabitation, like they say in French, and that was introduced several years ago, where you have a president of a certain party, but then the majority is from other party. So that means that something that may be very black-white in terms of decisiveness, at the end of the day, may be diluted very significantly.
I just want to turn to this issue of oil and sanctions. And Germany says that it believes it can get off Russian oil and gas by the end of the year. Other countries are doing the same. I need to get an economic perspective on how the risks at the moment. How fragile do you believe the European economy is to withstand these shocks?
Well, you have to answer that key question in two steps. The first step is that the growth carryover effect from last year is very significant. What that means is that there was such a dynamic environment last year that automatically, if you compare activity levels throughout this year with last year, the year-over-year comparison will benefit from this dynamism last year. That growth carryover represents for the euro area 1.9%. For France, it is 2.7%. Fantastic. However, the key question is what happens sequentially, the quarter-over-quarter growth. And that is where things become tricky, because if you would have oil moving up further, gas moving up further, or being a cut in supply, then of course you go in a way non-linear. Because what you see today is that in the surveys, businesses in particular have taken the stance, this is not going to be immense in terms of impact on our business environment, so they have not thrown in the towel.
William, have a good weekend, and thank you, sir. We'll talk more as this election goes forward to analyse the various policies of the candidates as we get more results. Thank you.